Okay, let's be real for a second. Have you ever felt that secret little wave of relief when someone cancels plans? Yeah, you're not alone. Today, we're going to dive into the psychology of people who just genuinely love staying home. And spoiler alert, it's not about being boring. It's about being wired completely differently. So, let's get into it.
I mean, we all have that friend, right? The one who's always suddenly coming down with something right before a night out, or they're just too tired, and you might even take it personally. But trust me, the reason they're picking their couch over a night out with you, it's way, way more complex than you might think.
And this really gets to the heart of it. You see, it's not about avoiding you. It's about protecting something really essential. We're talking about their energy, their peace, their entire internal balance. So what's messing with that balance in the first place? Well, it all starts with this awesome idea called the social battery.
Okay, so let's talk about your brain's social battery. It's a really simple but powerful way to think about it. Just imagine your ability to be on with people is exactly like the battery on your phone. Every single conversation, every meeting, even a fun party, it all uses up a little bit of that charge. And right here, this is where we see how differently people are wired. For an extrovert, being around other people is the charger. The energy, the noise, all of it, that's what plugs them in and gets them back to 100%. But for an introvert, that exact same environment is what drains the battery, sometimes super fast. For them, being alone is the only way to recharge.
And there's actually a scientific name for this whole thing. It's called optimal arousal theory. And all it really means is that some people's nervous systems are kind of like super sensitive microphones. They pick up everything, so they don't need a lot of outside noise to feel on. But other people, their nervous systems need more stimulation, more volume, more action, just to get to that same level of feeling alive and engaged.
So, the most important thing to get here is that wanting a quiet night in, it is not a character flaw. It's not about being lazy, it's not about being antisocial, it's literally about how your brain is built. It's neuroscience, pure and simple. But, managing your energy, that's actually just one piece of this puzzle. So another huge piece of this is something we all crave on some level: control. Specifically, the need to have control over our own environment. And let's face it, the outside world, it doesn't offer a whole lot of that. I mean, just think about it for a second. When you go out, the world is, well, it's chaotic. It's unpredictable. You can't control the music, the loud strangers, the last-minute changes. But at home? Oh, at home, you are in charge of everything. The lighting, the noise level, the playlist, the whole vibe. It's your sanctuary, and it's built on a foundation of predictability. Now, for someone who is a highly sensitive person or deals with anxiety, this kind of control isn't just a nice little perk. It's absolutely vital. It's a tool for survival, really. It's how they stop their nervous system from just going into complete overdrive. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity.
Okay, so there's this idea in our culture that if you're staying home, you're doing nothing. But what if that's completely wrong? What if staying in is actually one of the most productive things a person can do?
This idea just completely flips the script on our definition of productive, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. The best ideas, the biggest breakthroughs, they don't usually happen in a noisy bar. They happen in the quiet moments, when your brain finally gets a chance to breathe and connect all the dots. And you know what? Science totally backs this up. Spending time alone isn't empty time. It's actually when our brains really get to work. It's where creativity sparks to life, where you can finally hear yourself think, and where your problem-solving skills get razor sharp, all because you're away from the constant noise. Yep, there's a term for this too. It's called a low stimulation preference. And honestly, you should think of it like a superpower. It just means you don't need the outside world to constantly entertain you, because your own inner world, your thoughts, your ideas, your imagination, is already a pretty amazing place to hang out. But, and this is really important, we have to talk about a crucial difference here. Because there's a huge gap between choosing solitude because it brings you peace and being forced into it because of pain. And to figure out which it is, you've got to ask yourself the right questions. So here's the first question, and be honest with yourself. Do you stay home because it fills you up? Because it's an active choice that leaves you feeling restored and energized, more like you? Or is it something else? Is it because the very thought of leaving just feels too heavy, overwhelming, maybe even impossible? That feeling, that is the red flag. That's the difference between choosing peace and potentially struggling with something like anxiety or depression.
And that distinction, it's everything. On one hand, you're choosing to recharge, and your home is a refuge. It's a safe place. But on the other hand, you might be trapped by anxiety, and that very same home can start to feel more like a cage. One is about peace, and the other is about hiding. But for anyone who genuinely chooses and loves that time at home, this really says it all. You're not broken, you're not antisocial, you're not missing out. You are just wired for depth over noise. That's it.
So let's end with this. Our culture is obsessed with being out there, right? Always doing something, always going somewhere. But what if your best life isn't at some huge party? What if it's right there, on your couch, with a great book and absolutely no obligations? Realizing that isn't sad, it's not boring, it's powerful, it's knowing yourself. So the only real question is, where do you find yours?